Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. Thank you guys so much for tuning in here. Really appreciate the support. As always, if you could, go into the comments. Let us know your thoughts. Go like our videos and subscribe. We really appreciate all the support. I'm your host, Adam. Unfortunately, here today without the use, but you know what? The news was so exciting, I felt like I had to come on and make a video. And as some of you requested in our last comment section on the video about the Copa America and Euros, you wanted to hear our thoughts on the two new signings coming from Manchester City, Sergio Aguero and Eric Garcia. And what an exciting time it is, right? I mean, we're talking about here yin and yang, old and new, right? With Sergio Aguero, of course, previously an Atletico Madrid player and also played, as he's most well known for Manchester City for about 9 years. And, you know, everyone remembers the great Aguero goal back when they won their first Premier League title with Aguero, and he's now won 5 Premier League titles, although unfortunately just came up short against Chelsea. And Yus and I were watching that game and pretty upset. But, hey, it's, it was sad to see Aguero in tears the other day after that loss in Portugal. However, it's really nice to see him so happy at the Camp Nou as he was yesterday. And then on the other side, right, we have Eric Garcia, who has followed similar, and I'm sure we're going to hear about this a lot in the coming years, a similar history like Gerard Piqué, right, coming up in La Masia and then going to Manchester, although Piqué went to Manchester United and Eric Garcia went to Manchester City and then came back home. And so as we look at the two players, you know, the comparisons are so deep, right, in terms of how much they contrast each other. If we look at age here, Eric Garcia is 20 years old and Sergio Aguero just today turned 33. If we look at their wages, right, I think the thing that really pops out to us is twofold. One is that for Eric Garcia, if you remember, there were a lot of news reports that Bartomeu had offered him a certain wage that was kind of in line with our older pre-Laporta wage structure, which was astronomically high. And then now under Laporta, as we have with other players, we are starting to reduce that wage. And Eric Garcia, you know what, he decided to come out and accept those wages, which is one thing we must, be very happy for. And then on the other end, we have Sergio Aguero, who last year was making almost 14 million euros with Manchester City. And this year, he signed on for 5 million euros a year with Barcelona. If you look at the years on the contract, Eric Garcia has 5 years, whereas Sergio Aguero has 3 years, which will take him up to his 36th birthday. And then if we look at Premier League appearances, right, even though they were on the same team, Eric Garcia had 19 to Sergio Aguero's 275. It must be said, right, in those 275 Premier League appearances, Sergio Aguero scored 184 Premier League goals, which is the most all-time for one player with one team in the Premier League. And then, in line with our last video about when we're going to see these players, we have Eric Garcia called up for Spain, so we'll see him in the Euros, and of course, Sergio Aguero teaming up with his old pal, Lionel Messi, with Argentina in the Copa America, which now looks like it's being played in Brazil, but we will get to that. And so, I think the first thing, as we kind of look at these players together and what they mean and how they're coming to Barcelona, it was really nice to hear both of them say yesterday that Barca are the best team in the world. Of course, we've gone through some hard times and haven't had the Champions League victories we were all hoping for in these last few years, but still, it means a lot. For Aguero, one, because, he just came from Manchester City, where he is a club legend, right? They will probably name part of the stadium or at least a, fan seating arrangement after him. And so for him to say that really means a lot, and I think demonstrates that he's trying to start off here on a good foot. And then Eric Garcia, of course, coming home. And both of them have that love, it seems, for the team, or at least they're saying so for now, and we will see, right? And, I think with both of them in the last few weeks here, we've seen a lot of great comments from Pep Guardiola, really describing how much of a great player Sergio is, and also how much he believed in Eric Garcia, even though Eric Garcia didn't see too much time in the Premier League or the Champions League at the end of the season. And so, when Aguero came and had his press conference 2 days ago with Laporta, he said a few interesting things, right? First of all, he said once, he had dreamed his whole life of playing for Barca since he was a little boy, and it had not happened yet. But once he heard that Barca wanted him, he told his agent to not talk to anyone else. He also was very humble, right? And he was straight up when he was asked about what he thinks his spot in the team will be next year. And he said he doesn't expect to be in the starting 11 because of his name, and that he hopes that he will play well enough that the team will, give him minutes. And, of course, the thing we're all looking for is he emphasized that he hopes Messi will stay. Now, come on, guys. I think all of us know here that if Aguero's coming, it almost means certainly that Messi will stay. And a lot of the reports in the last few weeks have only helped that. I think, of course, the 2 wins in the last 6 matches in La Liga had us definitely pretty apprehensive and unsure if Messi would indeed stay. But Aguero signing, as well as the recent reports, really make us feel confident that he will come back. And, the cool thing about both signings is Aguero came for free, right? He's 33 years old. His time at Manchester City was done. And Eric Garcia also came for free because his contract ends on July 1st when he officially becomes a Barcelona player. And, one thing that must be said, right, is that Eric Garcia was the one to actually turn down Man City's contract offers, part of why he wasn't played a lot at the end of the season, because he wanted to come. And as we get into looking into what these players offer us this year, I think with Eric Garcia, the first thing is, he is a La Masia talent, right? He was there at La Masia from age 7 for 10 years until he was 17. And, he's always talked about as a man who captained a lot of the youth teams and, like we mentioned earlier, has that Gerard Piqué narrative of, going to Manchester and then coming back to Barca. And, I think a lot of people will tell you he wasn't the greatest player, and he might not be an immediate starter, right? With, Piqué hopefully coming back from injury, from Araujo looking very good last year and looking like a surefire starter, to Lenglet, who, I'm not very happy with a lot of people who are just trashing Lenglet. Piqué's had a few rough seasons, and he's come back and also shown some wonderful spurts in the last few years, and I think we must give Clement Lenglet that same respect. And so, Eric Garcia will come into a team with managed expectations. Part of what has made things so hard, I think, for Pedri this year is that, he got so much hype and he started so many big games that I think it was a lot for him to deal with. And very similarly, I thought Arthur, when he first came to Barca and started almost all the games, he had a similar pressure on him that at, a somewhat young age, though Pedri being younger, is a lot to handle. So I hope to see Eric Garcia come in, use some of the knowledge he's gotten from Pep and playing at Manchester City, right, with John Stones and Ruben Diaz, and come and show that, he's going to be definitely a solid backup, as we all talked about throughout the second half of last season, especially post the international break. Koeman didn't rotate enough players, and our starters were getting injured, or they were just not playing as well as they could have throughout that tough end of the season. And so hopefully Eric Garcia will be a player who can rotate in, play some good minutes next year, probably some Copa del Rey games, and, grow slowly into a starter. That's what we're looking for here, because at the end of the 2019-2020 season for Manchester City, he was on fire. However, as the 2020-2021 season went on, he was playing with a defense that was riddled by injuries, and anytime something went wrong, it felt like Eric Garcia was putting to blame, which is part of why he only played 19 games total in the Premier League. But this is the time for him to come back home, right, learn and compete with, as well as like John Stones and Ruben Diaz were. So, Araujo, Lenglet, Piqué, Umtiti if he stays, which is unlikely, Mingueza, who can also play as a center back. So, I think Eric Garcia has a lot of time here to learn, and I hope we can all manage our expectations and let him slowly grow into a consistent starter. And then with Sergio Aguero, right, we all know his goal-scoring prowess, right? 184 Premier League goals for Manchester City, the all-time record for one team, just beat out Wayne Rooney. He is a goal scorer, and at the end of the day, if you look at what was missing from the team last year, was that goal scorer who could put away opportunities, right? Of course, we have Lionel Messi, so we were able to put in a lot of goals in La Liga last season. However, we just, when teams got tough, when they were, putting 8 men in the box trying to defend, it didn't seem like we had someone with that killer knack for goal who could come out and score a goal, right? Griezmann, hey, he had the Copa del Rey comebacks. He had some big goals in La Liga. Dembele had the big goal against Sevilla. He scored against Valladolid. That won us a point after the international break. But neither of those two players are a full-on striker. And that is exactly what Sergio Aguero brings to us, right? And in the last few seasons, we've had to sub in Braithwaite, and, all respect to Braithwaite, he put in that, of course, the header to bring us above Granada in the Copa del Rey, and he's been serviceable, but he's nowhere near the goal scorer of even a 33-year-old Sergio Aguero. And so Aguero answers a big issue we had, which is we need someone up front in front of goal who's ready to put balls in the back of the net. And that is what I hope he will provide. Now, it must be said, his fitness is probably the biggest concern, right? He has had, throughout the last 5 6 years, constant issues with his knee, with his hamstring. He had, though not his body's fault, he had COVID, which kept him out earlier this season. And so the only thing we can hope is that Aguero will come and, be healthy and put in some good shifts. Like he was saying and alluding to, he might not be the starter this whole season. I've heard different thoughts from different people, and I would love to hear your guys' thoughts in the comments below. Will Aguero be a consistent starter? If we keep Dembele, and the rumors are looking like we're going to sign him to an extension, and Griezmann, we're probably not going to get enough money for him to sell him, and, Haaland, the quote-unquote pipe dream that we all have, is looking more likely to happen in the summer of 2022 when his release clause is, I believe, 75 million euros. Looks like we're not going to have another striker come in. So Aguero is definitely going to get a lot of minutes, and, we'll probably explore playing Messi, Griezmann, Aguero, or Messi, Dembele, Aguero, right? We're going to try a bunch of different things, I'm sure, under this new season, and we'll see where Aguero fits, and hopefully he will be a great goal scorer. And, before we go off, I think the last thing to think about is we need a new defender, right? And I think even though Eric Garcia might not be the starter throughout the whole season, I think it's good for us to get him in here and get him minutes, because Umtiti, as we've seen, just doesn't have it right after that World Cup. I mean, it's been 3 years now, and he's not getting any quicker, and hasn't really shown up big, and had some big boo-boos throughout the season. Lenglet, even though I said I want to give him another chance, there's, a decent chance that he doesn't return to the heights he had in 2019 and 2018. And, what the real question will be is, was Lenglet in 2018 and 19, was he overperforming, and now what we saw last season, was that the normal Lenglet, or was 2020, 2021 a down season and he'll come back up? But you look at our past signings for center backs, Todibo, Murillo, Jerry Mina, Vermaelen, Mathieu. None of these players were really the type that were able to build and come out and have a long, successful career at Barca. And so besides Lenglet, Eric Garcia might be that next opportunity for us to grow someone, who's already a La Masia talent, and see him come out big in the years to come. So thank you guys all for listening. Really appreciate the support. Hope you have a nice week, and we'll see. We got some spicy news coming up, guys. Thank you.